Most people hear Apache and immediately picture a helicopter slicing through the sky, or perhaps imagine a fierce warrior from the pages of history. But the real story of the Apache people goes much deeper, stretching far beyond popular images and stereotypes. The Apache were, and still are, a people with a profound connection to the land, a complex society, and a spiritual world as rugged and beautiful as the deserts they call home. Their traditions, beliefs, and way of life have been shaped by centuries of living in harmony with the harsh environment. Long before modern borders were drawn, the Apache ruled a vast territory across what is now Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and northern Mexico. To them, these lands were not divided by lines on a map, they were homelands filled with meaning and memory. The name Apache likely comes from the Zuni word for enemy, but to themselves they are the people. This name reflects their sense of unity, identity, and belonging. Their reputation as formidable fighters wasn't just Hollywood fiction or legend, it was earned through generations of resistance and survival. The Spanish, Mexicans, and Americans all struggled for centuries to subdue them, often failing in the face of Apache determination and skill. The Apache turned the Southwest into their battlefield, vanishing into the landscape like smoke, earning the nickname Ghosts of the Desert. Their knowledge of the land was their greatest weapon. That helicopter's name is a nod to a legacy of resilience, intelligence, and a fighting spirit born from a deep connection to their world, a tribute to a people who refused to be conquered. The Apache became legendary not just for survival, but for mastering a land others found unforgiving, turning adversity into strength. For them, it was simply home, a place of family, tradition, and enduring spirit. Understanding that land is the first step to understanding the people who have lived there for generations, shaping and being shaped by it. Their story is far from over. Today, Apache communities continue to honor their heritage, adapt, and thrive. It's a legacy that still shapes the Southwest today, echoing through the land, the people, and the stories that endure. Here's a twist. The Apache didn't start in the Southwest. Their roots trace back to the subarctic regions of Canada and Alaska, speaking an Athabascan language still shared with northern tribes. Around 1000 AD, their ancestors began a slow migration south, adapting to new environments over centuries. They split into groups like the Chiricahua, Mescalero, Jicarilla, Lipan, and Western Apache, each shaped by their new homelands. They went from hunting moose to surviving among cactus and coyotes, becoming expert botanists, hunters, and hydrologists. Their knowledge of the land was a matter of life and death. This epic migration forged their resilience and adaptability. The Apache are not just a tribe, but a family of related peoples with a shared origin. They carried their language and identity, but became part of the Southwest itself. Their journey echoes in their traditions and language even today. It's one of North America's greatest migrations. Drop most people in the Sonoran Desert, and they're lost. For the Apache, it's a living map. Their connection to the land was practical, knowing where water pooled, which plants healed, and how to read the faintest tracks. An Apache scout could read a trail like a story, knowing who passed, when, and how they felt. Their tracking was a science, not magic, honed over generations. Even the U.S. Army hired Apache scouts to track other Apache. They knew every secret trail, waterhole, and hiding spot, making them nearly impossible to catch. To outsiders, the land was hostile. To the Apache, it was home. Their worldview was rooted in respect for the land. Mountains and springs were sacred, home to the mountain spirits. They lived in balance, taking only what they needed. This deep relationship with the earth was their greatest survival tool. It's a lesson in sustainability we're only now beginning to appreciate. The land was their guide, their protector, and their legacy. For the Apache, survival and spirituality were inseparable. You can't talk Apache history without Geronimo. His name is woven into the very fabric of the American West, a symbol of fierce independence and unbreakable will. Born Goyathle, one who yawns, he became a symbol of resistance after Mexican soldiers killed his family, igniting a fire that would never be extinguished. Driven by grief and a thirst for justice, he led relentless raids, fueled by a belief that no gun could kill him. His courage inspired warriors and terrified enemies alike. Geronimo wasn't a chief, but a war leader and medicine man, his power rooted in spiritual visions and battlefield success. He was revered for his connection to the spirit world and his uncanny ability to evade capture. When Americans forced the Apache onto reservations, Geronimo refused to accept confinement. He saw the loss of freedom as a fate worse than death. With just a handful of followers, he evaded thousands of US and Mexican troops in one of history's largest manhunts, vanishing into the harsh desert and mountains time and again. His surrender in 1886 ended the Apache Wars, but not his story. Even in defeat, he remained defiant, his spirit unbroken. As a prisoner of war, he became a reluctant celebrity, paraded at fairs and even in President Roosevelt's inaugural parade. The world watched, but few understood the pain behind his stoic gaze. He died in Oklahoma, never allowed to return home. The land he loved was forever out of reach, but his memory could not be confined. Geronimo's legacy is ultimate resistance, fighting for freedom against impossible odds. His name became a rallying cry for those who refused to surrender. His story is a reminder of the cost of survival and the power of defiance. It's a lesson in courage, sacrifice, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. He remains a symbol of the Apache spirit, inspiring generations to honor their heritage and fight for their rights. Against all odds, he lived and died on his own terms, refusing to let others define his destiny. His legend endures, echoing through the canyons he once called home, a whisper of resistance on the wind. Geronimo's fight was never just his own, it was for his people, for their future, and for the unbreakable spirit of the Apache Nation. The Apache mastered guerrilla warfare long before the term existed, developing a unique approach to conflict that set them apart from other tribes and their adversaries. They fought with speed, stealth, and surprise, never in open battle, always on their own terms. Their movements were calculated, their attacks swift and unpredictable, making them nearly impossible to pin down. War parties could cover 70 miles a day, living off the land and vanishing before enemies could react. Their deep knowledge of the terrain allowed them to move like shadows, blending into the environment. Psychological warfare was key. Mirrors flashed signals, animal calls masked communication, and stolen horses shattered enemy morale. These tactics sowed confusion and fear, giving the Apache a powerful edge. Their weapons mixed old and new, bows, spears, war clubs, and when possible, firearms. This adaptability meant they could face any threat with whatever tools were at hand. The bow's silence and speed often outmatched rifles in close quarters, allowing warriors to strike without warning and disappear before a shot could be fired in return. Every Apache warrior was always armed and ready, prepared to defend their people at a moment's notice, whether at home or on the move. Women kept camps running and processed supplies. While children learned to be observant and tough from a young age, the entire community played a role in survival, each person contributing vital skills. The entire society was built for mobility and resilience. They could pack up and relocate quickly, leaving little trace for pursuers to follow. U.S. General Crook realized the only way to fight the Apache was to think like them, using their own tactics and even Apache scouts. He respected their skills and adapted his strategies accordingly. Their strategy was survival itself, not just warfare. Every action was about protecting their people and their way of life, no matter the odds. The Apache's adaptability made them legendary opponents, respected and feared by all who faced them. Their playbook was written in the land and in the minds of every member of the tribe, passed down through generations as both tradition and necessity. Their tactics still inspire military strategy today, a testament to the enduring legacy of the Apache way of war. Apache life wasn't just about war. It was rich with ceremony. The Sunrise Dance, or Nai'is, is a 4-day coming-of-age ritual for young women, celebrating their transition into womanhood. The ceremony is a community event, filled with dancing, singing, and prayer, symbolizing strength and spiritual power. The girl, dressed in sacred buckskin, is believed to have healing powers during the ritual, blessing and helping others. It's a powerful affirmation of women's central role in Apache society. The Sunrise Dance is still practiced today, reinforcing family, community, and identity. It's a living tradition, not a relic, an anchor for Apache culture. Through this ceremony, the spirit of the people endures. The Apache language is complex, precise, and shaped by the land, full of words for mountains, water, and movement. It's a language built for storytelling, action, and connection. During World War II, Apache speakers served as code talkers, using their language as an unbreakable military code. But for decades, government policies tried to erase it, punishing children for speaking their native tongue. The loss of language meant the loss of history, songs, and worldview. Today, Apache communities are fighting to reclaim and revitalize their language, through immersion programs, recordings, and new technology. Speaking Apache is about more than words. It's about identity and connection to ancestors. The language carries unique wisdom and a way of seeing the world. Revitalization is a battle for the future, and the Apache are determined to win. Their language is their legacy and their strength. To see if a culture thrives, look at its youth. Across Apache nations, elders and educators are making heritage relevant for a new generation. Kids learn on the land, identifying plants, running old trails, and hearing stories tied to sacred places. Cultural programs teach beadwork, dances, and traditional crafts, making learning hands-on and fun. It's about pride, belonging, and connecting to Apacheria. Apache youth face challenges but show remarkable resilience. Young leaders are blending tradition with modern life, using social media, starting businesses, and advocating for their communities. They are the bridge between ancient and modern worlds. The cultural fire is burning bright in the next generation. The Apache spirit is alive and evolving. The Apache legacy isn't a relic, it's alive. It's in the language spoken by children, the beat of the sunrise dance, and the stories written on the land. They survived conquest and forced assimilation, but never disappeared. Today, they fight for sovereignty, water rights, and education, using the same intelligence and tenacity that made them legendary. Their connection to the earth is a lesson for us all. The land is a living relative, not a commodity. The Apache story is one of resilience, adapting while holding on to identity and community. The ghosts of the desert remain, in spirit and in pride. Their legacy endures as timeless as the land itself.